Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful, lovely, wonderful Friday morning here, Tea with a Hacker. I am your host, as always, Neil Bridges, and thank you so very much for joining me this morning. Yes, back on Twitch. For those who are like, oh my God, we're back on Twitch. Oh my God, we're back on Twitch. Yes, we are back on Twitch. Loving the vibe, loving the hype trains. Yes, TGIF. Thank God it is Friday, and I couldn't think of any better Friday to spend in a post-Black Hat Defcon world than with my friends at the cyber insecurity community. Rocking some nice masala tea this morning. Ooh, my auto white balance on the cam hub is acting up. Turn off. No auto white balance. I have lights for that. Stop making me turn blue. There we go. Awesome. Fantastic. Welcome to all of our new joiners, all of our new chatters, all of our new viewers, as well as our long-time family. Thank you all so very much for tuning in with us this morning. I want everybody to take notice. I did see my good friend Eric Basu at Haiku Inc. with World Haiku at Black Hat and Defcon, and scored me nice little haiku merch, little haiku hoodie here. Oh yeah, getting the hoodie on with a little haiku, loving it. Yeah, I did go to Defcon, but I only stayed for one day. I didn't participate in any of the chaos that is Defcon, but I was there in Caesars when it happened. There was a lot of people there for that. There was a lot of people there for that one. Real quick, let's cover some logistics as I always do this morning. We'll do our super short version of this. This is our Friday morning AMA stream, which means ask me anything. When I say anything, it means drop your question in chat at any point in time, and I will absolutely do my ever-loving best to answer it. But we do ask that you only ask your question once, just once. If you ask more than once, it may be considered spam, and our good friend, the moderators, may be tempted to put you in a timeout or a ban. But do drop it in chat. My moderators are grabbing questions, and we will push the questions up on stream, as you have seen before in the past, as we answer questions live on stream. Speaking of moderators, I do want to thank my moderators each and every stream for their dedication. They are awesome. They are here voluntarily. They work for they work for my really terrible jokes. So please give them some respect. Mad respect for the moderators. Hype hands in chat for the moderators. They're here to keep chat free of racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. We have a zero tolerance for toxicity on this stream, meaning it will not be tolerated. Not be tolerated. I do trust my moderators explicitly, meaning if they put you on a timeout or a ban, you need to appeal to a moderator, not to me. I don't check those things. I don't have any control over them. My moderators do. This is a fantastic time to remind you, hit that exclamation point Discord in chat to get access to our Discord server. That is the best way to get in touch with the moderators or myself if needed to. I want to thank B7H30 for the raid this morning. Thank you so very much. Welcome to the Cyber Insecurity team. Hope you enjoy the content here. My name is Neil Bridges. You can find my bio over on LinkedIn. On the About page, you can see that I spent 10 years in the United States Air Force working in the National Security Agency as an offensive hacker. Built numerous red teams throughout my career for a lot of Fortune 100 companies. Also built security teams for some of the largest Fortune 100 companies, including security operations and incident response teams, and now currently the CISO at Query.ai. Also, I have lots of fun. And hopefully everybody's here to have fun. I do actually no Britney Spears here. I love it. With yes. Does WA mean with a? Yes. That means with a. Sorry, that's abbreviations. Maybe I should really start not do the abbreviations there on that one. But yes, WA means with a. There's a couple of things I want to talk about before I get into questions. Now's a good time to remind you, as I see questions start getting dropped into chat, drop those questions into chat and we'll get them queued up. I do want to give a small Black Hat and Defcon recap of what I saw while I was there. I have a blog post that's going to come out on this here probably sometime next week is when it's going to get published. But as my awesome viewers will tell you, I oftentimes give sneak peeks of blog posts and things like that here so that we can talk about them live on stream. I also want to talk a little bit about some hypocrisy and drama that we have in the cybersecurity industry. Something that happened in the last 24 hours that I definitely want to talk about as well. So there's a couple things I want to hit before I jump right into questions. Let's talk about Black Hat and Defcon. And for those who haven't seen, I did do an interview up on YouTube. You can go see an interview I did with our good friend Joel Fulton up on YouTube. We talked extensively, about some of the things. Extensively is a 20-minute interview, so one of the shorter ones that we've done. We talked about some of the things that we've seen at Black Hat in the past. I want to give a huge shout out first and foremost to Nathan Hoff, aka Com Bombadil, if he's in chat. Super trooper. Gave him an opportunity to basically stay attached to my hip for an entire week at Black Hat, and boy did that kid deliver. Not once did he deviate from the schedule. Not once did he not keep me in check and make sure that I was going to places that I said we needed to go. He kept the schedule on check. He was actively engaged in conversations. It really led to some interesting conversations, and I'll throw this one out there. Actually, I'll do a poll on this one. I'm gonna start a poll on this one to see if anybody else likes this one. We'll call this one Black Hat Mentorship. Not what you think it is. This isn't. I'm not going to teach you how to be a black hat. That's not going to happen. We'll run this poll for 5 minutes. Actually, we'll run it for 10 minutes so I can tell the story. So what we did was in this year's Black Hat, Com Bombadil wanted to go to Black Hat, but he was a little tight on funds, but he also needs a job. And so what we had done was we had said, listen, if you get to Black Hat, I will welcomely take you to any conversation that I have with anybody at all in Black Hat for the entire week. We'll walk the floor together. We'll talk to vendors that I know. We'll get you introduced to some people, and it becomes, effectively going to the same meetings that I went to. And we did. We went to, he went to every meeting with me. I made it clear that if there was a meeting where somebody wanted to discuss something that was sensitive or private or something that was handled under an NDA that Nathan, couldn't participate in, Nathan would have to depart from that opportunity, which he understood, and everybody that I talked to was actually more than grateful to have Nathan there to kind of experience what it was like to be in cybersecurity on that side of things. And so Nathan got to meet. I don't want to speak for Nathan. I encourage you to reach out to him on Discord and in chat if he's in chat this morning to ask him how the opportunity went. But I took him to meetings with the chief technology officer at Cynics, CEOs from various companies. If you saw my Twitter, we saw Ben Spring at TryHackMe, so we got an opportunity to meet Ben Spring in person from TryHackMe. Just lots of opportunities to meet and see a lot of people. We went to a lot of dinners. I brought him to the Attack IQ dinner with our good friends at Attack IQ, where he got to meet some folks that we've had here on stream, Jose, Ben Opal, and tons of other CISOs and CSOs that were at the Attack IQ. All in all, it was a fantastic opportunity. And so this is what the poll is about right now, is we had notionally, as a cyber and security leadership team, had notionally talked about a 8-month effort between now and the next Black Hat to see if we couldn't raise money to do a giveaway where we give that opportunity to somebody else, and it might be you. Might be you. And so there's a yes or no poll up there right now. If you think that's a great idea, vote yes. If you think it's a terrible idea, vote no. But I don't know who thinks that's a bad idea. We want to try it. We thought the opportunity was great enough for Nathan that we thought it would be a great opportunity to try to figure out a way to extend that out to another lucky member of the community and see if we couldn't do it for another lucky member of the community. So kudos to Nathan for being a trooper and sticking together with that. I hope you got as much out of it as I did from hanging out with you for a week. I learned a ton about you. I'm glad to call you my friend, sir. Cheers to you. Oh, and there we go. Gifting the sub out. Thank you very much, Skickrich, for that. Looks like the hype train has started as well with that. All right, so Black Hat and Defcon. My general stance, if you watched any of my videos with David, right, you know that I'm incredibly cynical on Black Hat and Defcon. This year is no different. Let me just say that right now. This year is no different. There is I said this with Joel when I interviewed him, right? I expected to come into Black Hat and Defcon and see something awesome. And I didn't. And that's par for the course for Black Hat. That is par for the course for Black Hat. There really is. It's hard to see new things. It's hard to see new technologies. It's hard to see new research. There just isn't as much innovation as there was in the early days of a lot of this, right? And so, the vendor hall was very, very crowded. And when you walked into the vendor hall, just to kind of paint this picture for everybody here, thank DJ BSEC for the 100 bits. Appreciate you. Keeping the hype train going. If you do want to participate in the hype train, you got about 4 minutes to participate in the hype train. New emotes come in from that. But I want to kind of talk about the way the floor is laid out, right? You walk into the floor, they've got these big garage doors that kind of come up to the floor hall. You walk into the floor, and immediately you're hit in the face with these big ass vendor booths from vendors like CrowdStrike and Cybereason and IBM and VMware, who clearly have not only bought, $500,000 worth of floor space at Black Hat, but have probably paid $10, $20, $30, $50,000 for the booth itself. Freaking CrowdStrike had a 30-foot robot in the damn vendor hall. A 30-foot robot. What the hell is CrowdStrike doing with a 30-foot robot in the damn vendor hall? And it's like, there are lines. There are lines to get to these vendors for the swag and for the parties. That is it. That is it. They're not there to learn about CrowdStrike. They're not there to see what's new and what's latest and greatest in this CrowdStrike technology kit, because it hasn't changed much. And when you look at Cybereason and Carbon Black, and I say this with all due respect, my friends at Carbon Black, right? And CrowdStrike and SentinelOne, the technology isn't that different from vendor to vendor to vendor to vendor. And so that's the first thing you see when you walk in there, is you see that. And that's your experience. And I think that right there is the fundamental problem with Black Hat. You have heard me say this on stream before. There is too much money in cybersecurity. There is too much money in cybersecurity. And I just saw Cyber Centurion say this as well. Right. That's where all the company's money goes. It is amazing when you look at this, and then you look at what they spend at RSA, and then when you look at what they spend at Gartner, and you look at what they spend at these conferences, and you're like, yeah, their marketing budgets are stupid big. And that's what you see. And I'll just answer this because we're in the midst of talking about it, right? So does the swag distract that there's nothing new? Absolutely. The swag and the parties distract from the fact that CrowdStrike et al., and I lump CrowdStrike, Cybereason, Carbon Black, SentinelOne in the same boat, that they've commoditized the EDR business so much that any incremental change, we're talking about 1% of actual product functionality increase from product to product to product, right? As a result of their innovation, right? And what they've done is they've tried to rely on the marketing, because what they want you to see is they want you to see how big they are. They want you to get the impression that they're the behemoth, that when somebody says, what EDR should we have? You're like, well, I remember seeing CrowdStrike at Black Hat, and so therefore CrowdStrike must be awesome, and therefore that 30-foot robot is going to stop all my breaches. As a matter of fact, I saw some insane marketing lines at Black Hat: stop all breaches, stop cyber attackers in their tracks, end ransomware forever. Oh my God, it was insane. It was insane. And so, like, I say all that to say that is definitively my biggest gripe with Black Hat, is that they have commercialized it so much that that's your first experience when you walk in the doors at the vendor hall, is that. And so this is a conversation that Joel and I had, which is very much like, okay, how do you get the most out of something like a Black Hat or a Defcon? Because when you walk in the door, you have to go all the way in the back. Like, you got to go in the back of the vendor hall. And when I say this, like, imagine just this massive, floor space worth of area, but all of the big vendors are all taking up that middle area. You've got to do like the supermarket trip where you got to go around the edges of the supermarket around the outside to get to the produce, to get to the meat, to get to the milk, things like that. And so there's definitely this kind of, gosh, I'm exhausted before I actually even get to see potentially something new. Snooky Smush with the 14-month sub. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Glad to see you back on Twitch. And so that was kind of my point, was if you wanted to see something new, you can't be you can't be shopping the vendor hall. Josh just put it in chat. Shop it like a dietitian, right? The guys and girls that run the CrowdStrike and the Cyber Reason and the big vendors in the middle, they're salespeople. They're marketing people, right? And so if you go there and you ask them, what does CrowdStrike do? What does Cyber Reason do? What do these companies do? They're going to give you the pitch line. Blah, 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 leading edge EDR technology, the latest and greatest in stopping ransomware attacks. We're the best in the whole wide world. Hoorah, go us, right? That's the pitch line that you're going to get from those companies. That's not solving problems. That's not helping our industry at all, is it? And so to get to founders, which is what I would encourage everybody here who gets a chance to go to these conferences do. Go find founders. And unfortunately, you have to go to the back of the line. You got to go to the back of the bus to find these founders of these companies. Okay? We went to the Lucidum booth, right? There's Joel standing right there. Joel, the man himself at Lucidum, shaking hands, kissing babies, telling the story of Lucidum. There's Ben Spring at TryHackMe, kissing babies, shaking hands, telling the story of TryHackMe. Founders are at the booths. If you want to find companies that are truly attempting to solve problems, skip the processed foods in the middle of the vendor hall and go right to the edges. Start at the edges and look at the founders of those companies that are there actually trying to make a difference in the cybersecurity space. That would be kind of like my biggest takeaway and my biggest hint for next year, right? Is if we're going to go back to conference season where it's like it is this last year, skip the processed foods. Everybody knows what those big guys do. Go find the founders and go learn what the little guys are doing, right? Go learn how the little guys are disrupting the industry. That'll get you a much better picture of potentially some of the innovation that's happening in the cybersecurity space. Because in the middle section where you've got the big guys, ain't happening. And listen, you don't have to go to their booth to go to the parties. Ask Nathan that. We have more than enough parties to go to. We didn't hit every party that we needed to go to, right? And we didn't go to any of the bigger booths to make it happen. Right? There are more than enough events to hit that you don't have to go to those bigger booths to do it. And so that's kind of my takeaway number one, right? Is my continued disappointment with how we let money drive where we do product placement, and we shaft smaller cybersecurity companies that are actually trying to do innovation in that space. So takeaway number one. Takeaway number two. Now, this is something I got a huge soapbox for. So I preface this by saying, if you want to drop the soapboxes, now is a fantastic time to drop the soapboxes in chat. So I mentioned the the kind of the layout there of the vendor hall, right? Big, huge open room. All the stuff, all the small stuff is on the outside edges. In the middle, you've got like all the massive behemoth vendors and things like that, right? With that being said, first thing I always do, my standard thing when I walk into a place that's that big is I like to have a system. And Nathan will tell you this. I immediately turn to the right. I want to go to the right-hand wall, and I want to start at the right-hand wall and come up. So that was the only reason I found this, because it wasn't very well advertised, which was problem number one. Problem number two is that I had to go all the way in the back right hand, almost to an annex, to find a little known area of Black Hat called the career section. And I thought, man, this is great. I'm excited to see what's in the career section. Let's go see what's in the career section of Black Hat. Now, put this in perspective. Thousands of vendors are there. Tens of millions of dollars. I probably shouldn't say hundreds. Tens of millions of dollars is being spent in the vendor hall, on the venue. You know, the companies that are there are spending millions of dollars to be there, right? I'm expecting this massive, overwhelming, very intense career section. As you could tell from the buildup, my excitement was palpable. You know what I saw when I got back to the career section at Black Hat? 8 booths. There are 1,000 vendor booths hawking their wares across the vendor hall. And there are 8 career booths in the entirety of Black Hat. Of those 8 career booths, only 4 are actual vendors. The rest of them are educational entities and universities. So major props to Cisco, Mimecast, Tenable, and I forget who the 4th one was, for having an actual booth there trying to recruit people for cybersecurity, trying to actually talk about their companies to get people to come work for their companies. Again, Nathan's free to talk about this anytime anyone wants to say anything to him about it, right? But I was appalled. I was like, how in the world do we incentivize swag and parties over career events? But there you go. There you go. And there you go. The Hayes just said it best in chat right there, right? The lack of career booths is a good analogy for the gatekeeping struggle for people to even get into cybersecurity. That's exactly where my head went as I'm standing there amongst these 8 vendors. And I mean, there was not a lot of traffic. At any point in time that we went there was not a lot of traffic that was going through this career section. I wrote about this extensively in the blog post that's going to go up next week. I'd appreciate everybody's support as we try to get this thing some visibility, some traction when this blog post goes live, because it was an utter travesty. This is good. This is good. I thought about this as well, Rotten Cupcake, and I appreciate this comment, right? It is assumed that everyone who attends already has a career. That is a fair assumption. However, if we are trying, to the previous point that was made about gatekeeping, if we're trying to show that if you go to Black Hat as a GRC person and you're trying to be more technical, you're trying to learn, why is it so hard for a company to stand up a booth that says, oh, you've got GRC experience? Let me show you what path I can give you to the career that you really want. Right? We got, looks like we got the Simply Cyber crew coming in, joining us over from YouTube's over on Twitch. Do make sure you go check out my good buddy, Gerald Auger, over on YouTube. If you aren't already, I want to welcome the Simply Cyber crew coming in for that. And so, you know, I think it's an unfair assumption to say that simply because they are at Black Hat, we assume that you already have a career. Matter of fact, look, I brought Nathan. Nathan doesn't have a career in cyber. He's trying to get into cyber, right? And so I think that there is more onus that needs to be had on the companies to put that forward. And just to carry on with that same conversation, aren't tickets like 1 to 2K? No. The vendor hall is $500. The vendor hall is $500. Thank you very much, Bilbo Fraggins, for the 5 gifted subs. To get into the vendor hall is $500. And when you compare Black Hat and Defcon, and you compare the size of the vendor halls between Black Hat and Defcon, and where you compare the actual opportunities to get a role in cybersecurity between Black Hat and Defcon, you have more of an opportunity to talk to folks who will likely hire you at Black Hat, not at Defcon. Defcon is a nerd conference for basement-dwelling orcs, and I say this with all due respect to my fellow basement-dwelling orcs out there, right? To showcase neat and cool, innovative technologies, cool hacks, villages for hands-on stuff. They're not there to hire you. There's not 1,000, 1,500 vendors in the vendor hall that would love to have an increase their cybersecurity cybersecurity headcounts at Defcon. They're at Black Hat. And so when you compare the almost $400 that you pay for a Defcon ticket versus the $500 that you'd pay for a vendor hall pass at Black Hat, if you are a career seeker, no, your cost of benefit analysis is so much better at Black Hat than it is at Defcon. Right? Your cost of benefit, and that's, when you listen to me talk, you hear that I talk very frequently about the cost of benefit analysis. And it is so much better at Black Hat than it is at Defcon. If you are a job, and so this is why I consider this to be the biggest missed opportunity at Black Hat this year, is the lack of career-focused opportunities at Black Hat. That career section made me upset. I included in the article that I'm writing, right? That Black Hat needs to do better about financially incentivizing their participants to include a career booth in that career section, because the career section was practically empty. It was practically non-existent. And Josh has got the right mentality here. And this is what we did with Nathan, right? We walked around and got him introduced to people to get him conversations. I mean, and again, if you had the wherewithal to stop at every single booth in Black Hat and say, "Hi, my name is Neil Bridges and I'm looking for a job. Let me tell you about my experience." Guess what you just got? Guess what you just got? You got 1,500 interviews. You got 1,500 in-person interviews. Better than you would have ever done on LinkedIn. Better you would have ever done submitting your application. And so no, I think that there was a missed opportunity on the career section to A, reduce the gatekeeping opportunities, B, encourage more people to either cross-train in their current cybersecurity skill set, or C, get people into the space. That there was a huge missed opportunity in that arena, without a doubt. Jerry's 100% spot on. This is exactly right. Right? Would not consider the Defcon vendor hall a vendor hall, more like a merch hall-ish. Very small, always been pretty small. It absolutely is. Absolutely. This is why I say, for those who are like, "Oh my God, isn't Black Hat so expensive?" No, to get into the vendor hall, it was $500 or $600. One of those two. Somebody keep me honest on this one. I think it was like $500 or $600, right? To get into the vendor hall. For Black Hat, it was $400, right? And so on a cost per handshake basis, if you're a career seeker, so much better. So much better. So that's I think the only really cool J Will 1182 Raleigh, North Carolina representing. Heck yeah, to the Raleigh. Hey, listen, for those, if you're in Raleigh, and I'll say this for my travels as well, right? My travel is starting to pick back up. September, I think I've got 3 or 4 trips scheduled in September. If I am in your city, Raleigh, North Carolina, or if I come to your city, make sure you reach out to me and let's try to coordinate a meetup. For those who are in the Raleigh-ish triad area, or want to make the trip to Raleigh, a golf game is a free 4-hour mentorship session. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. No, the 3K The 3K to get in, right? That was for the briefings. That's if you wanted to go listen to the briefings. That's not the vendor hall, right? And again, you're not making business contacts at the briefings, right? You're not handing out your resumes at the briefings, right? You're probably not making the same types of connections at the briefings. I'm not gonna say you're not gonna make any connections. You're just not making the same types of connections at the briefings as you would in the vendor hall. So yeah, so that was my takeaway. Defcon, I only stayed through Friday for Defcon, and so I didn't get to see too much other than the ridiculous amounts of crowded people that were there, and to me that was enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm just never coming back. Like, there is no amount of knowledge that I can't see for free on YouTube when Defcon publishes all their videos on YouTube that makes it worth it for me to stand an hour and a half long lines to get into villages, to stand an hour and a half long lines to get into talks, to stand an hour and a half long lines to buy overpriced merchandise. Yeah. So, yeah, this is fantastic. Again, Jerry dropping knowledge on this too, right? And you know, Jerry, maybe you and I should get on here and we should do like a tag team on this one, right? Yeah, if the briefing you go to sucks and there's no way of knowing, dude, you're out so much time. The lines are just ridiculous. Like the amount of time that you spend in lines at Defcon more than Black Hat is insane. And so if you stand in line for a couple hours and it sucks, you're screwed. You're just screwed, man. You're just screwed. So yeah, so lots to talk about there. Happy to answer any other questions about Black Hat or Defcon. Those are kind of and again, for me to talk about, like, that's the stuff that I think is important to bring back. Like the briefings, listen, and I talked to several people about this, right? The briefings at Black Hat are not put up on YouTube post Black Hat. People are like, Neil, that's incentive enough for me to go there. No, that's FOMO. That's FOMO. Fear of missing out. Listen, let's call a spade a spade. This is, you guys come here for the truth bombs. You guys come here for the reality, right, of cybersecurity. Let me tell you the reality. If I am a researcher and I just found the latest, coolest Starlink hack in the entire world, and I go present it at DEF CON, do you think that I'm like packing that research up and putting it up on the shelf, being like, deuces, mofos, if you didn't see it at Black Hat, you're out? Seriously, do you think that that's what happens? Do you think it's like, hold on, if you don't go watch my talk at Black Hat, you are never, ever, ever going to see this research ever again? No, I didn't think so, right? And so you're letting FOMO about being there in person drive you to make a poor financial decision when that researcher probably already has or will in the subsequent weeks publish that exact same research, that exact same talk, that exact same tool, or a video of it on YouTube, and you're letting FOMO drive you. Right? And so I want to encourage you to be pragmatic and responsible, right, when you're making these decisions. And I talk about this. Neil has gone DEFCON spicy. Because this... I got to be careful. Like, I don't know if Carmen's listening in on this stream or not. This poop pisses me off, right? The amount of times that we make stupid decisions and get nothing out of it because we've let the community say, if you don't go to DEF CON, you're not a real hacker. If you don't go to Black Hat, you're not a real hacker. You gotta get that Black Hat fedora with that Black Hat logo on it, right? You gotta go to those talks. You gotta spend $3,000. You gotta go to the vendor hall and you gotta come out with a giant backpack full of swag. I'm telling you, the amount of FOMO that we've allowed the industry to feed into us is freaking insane. Insane, people. Get your heads out of your butts, okay? Like, for real, the research isn't going to be missed. You're not going to not be able to find any of those research topics online at any point in time ever again in your life. And if you didn't, it must not have been really good research. Cyber Roflo in chat. Good to see you, buddy. Yes, back on Twitch. Back on Twitch. Twitch you notice my hot seats are a little hotter. My soapboxes are a little soapier now that we're back on Twitch. I feel a little bit more in my element, being a little bit more soapboxy here on Twitch. And listen, and this isn't me. I want to make something really clear, right? I'm not trying to disparage the events, and I'm not trying to discourage anybody from going. As a matter of fact, the reason that we're talking about doing this fundraising event for somebody in the community to go next year very much boils down to we think that there is value to going. The value that we think to going, though, is going there with a purpose, going there with a plan. Right? And that's what I have said from day one. Anybody who has asked me about this on any video anywhere, right, is to go there with a plan. And that's what we did. That's what those of us who went there, we went there with a plan. And I would argue that those of us who went there with a plan and achieved our plans got so much out of it. Got so much out of it. Outside the, I think people who go there and don't have a plan and just kind of wander around. I would argue that those of us who went there with a plan, we set up meetings, ahead of time. We coordinated with folks we wanted to meet with. We paid attention to the socials. I'll give you an example. Carla Refford, which we've had on stream here before, CEO of Orpheus Cyber, former recruiter. We had her on the stream as we talked about recruiting type of stuff, right? I was paying attention to socials, and I saw she posted that she was told last minute that she was going to go to Defcon. Black Hat. I immediately reached out to her and said, hey, you're coming to Black Hat. We have to meet up. We immediately exchanged phone numbers. We coordinated several visits together. Right? Paying attention to the socials, having a plan, not skimping on realizing that you need to figure out, if you see somebody you want to meet, to figure out how to make that meeting happen. And listen, I tell people this all the time. And again, I challenged Nathan. BSEC was there. Several of the folks from the cyber and security team were there. Most of the meetings that happened, most of the valuable meetings that happened, guess what? They didn't happen in the Black Hat event area. They happened in the bars and the cafes out there. They happened in the restaurants up and down Las Vegas Boulevard. Most of the valuable meetings, most of the valuable meetups, most of the valuable, hey, let's get together and have a beer type of conversations, they didn't actually happen at Black Hat. If you remember last year when I went to Black Hat, I talked about how I didn't even buy a badge. I tailgated my way into the vendor hall, and that was just to meet one client. Right? Everything else I did at Black Hat last year, I did in the surrounding Las Vegas area. You can listen. This is kind of breaking it down. Myth number 2 about going to Black Hat and Defcon. You can go to these events and not pay for a ticket. Let me say that again for those in the back who didn't hear it. You could go to these events and not pay for a ticket. Chances are 90%, if not more, of the meetings that you do, if you do your research appropriately and you set up these meetings ahead of time, will happen outside of the event hallway anyway. Okay? They'll happen outside the event hallway. You can get right up to the doors and still see everybody at Black Hat and Defcon. You don't actually have to go into the event area to see people. Right? And so go there with a plan, set up your meetings, network with people, and that is how you get the most out of these events. Okay? Small, tiny soapbox. I could go on for a while. It seems to be more of a networking event than an information share. Networking is definitely worth more. There is definitely a lack of information share. And here's, if I were to give one credence, if I'd give one credence to Black Hat, it would be Arsenal. Arsenal is probably the one good thing at Black Hat that I would give credence to. Arsenal is a small section where researchers, small-time tool creators can go and showcase the capabilities of their tools. And these are typically tools that you can get on GitHub. And again, I go back, you can find the research, you can find their YouTube videos out there. It's not like they're hiding, you know, in a hole somewhere and it's secret, right? And so, you know, I think that there is you know, there's some cool things to be seen there from seeing a tool. But again, I'm a huge fan of, you know, it's not exclusive. And so you can go find it somewhere else. So that's probably the, that's probably it. So yes, I would absolutely massively view Black Hat as one of the largest networking events in our industry. And anything else that you get outside of that is additive. And so if you were really wanted to be on the cheap, all you have to do is get to Vegas and find a place to stay. If you get to Vegas and find a place to stay, and again, you know, I'm not just talking about Butt. Ask BSEC, ask Nathan, ask anybody else who was there, right? Nathan was with me every day, except for when I was streaming US Cyber Games. Every day that we were there. Outside of breakfast, where I paid for breakfast, we didn't pay for a single thing. We didn't pay for dinners. We didn't pay for drinks. We hardly paid for lunch. Right? And so you can realistically get there, get into a hotel, and you can enjoy the entire event on a very, very, very skimpy budget. Okay? It is not fiscally undoable as people would have you make it out to be to get to these events. And just because we, you know, I don't, and again, back to my statement before, right? It's not to say that I'm disparaging anybody from going to these events. And is DEFCON fun and educational? It can be. But to ignore that it is an hour and a half wait to get into any talk that you want, right? And when I talk about any talk that you want, you look and you see who's presenting, you're like, I want to go to that talk, hour and a half line. Oh, they're talking about hacking Starlink, I want to go to that talk, hour and a half line, right? And then you get into that talk and you realize it's a shitty talk. Whoops. Don't tell her I said that, right? Don't tell her I said that, right? It's a terrible talk, right? The presenter's terrible. The audio's terrible. The material on the slides is terrible. Okay, cool. I'm going to go to the villages. I'm going to go to the car hacking village. Cool. I'm going to stand in line for an hour to hack a Tesla. I'm going to stand in line for an hour to take somebody's cheat sheet that they've typed out for me on how to hack a Tesla console. I'm going to run their commands on a keyboard, and I'm going to change the color of the digital screen. And I'm going to wait an hour and a half for that. Again, can it be fun and educational? Without a doubt. Are you willing to wait in line for an hour and a half at every village and at every talk and roll the dice on a 50-50 shot when you can just go watch the talks online on YouTube later? To me, and I will always reference everything to a cost-benefit analysis basis, it's not worth my time for the benefit that I get out of that to stand in line at those lines and to make that happen. This is a fantastic one. Just because I saw this one just pop up. My company had a booth at Black Hat, right? Thank you very much for putting the suggestion out there that they have one in the career area. This is the type of change that we need in this industry. Thank you very much for that, the Outcast. But if your company has a booth at Black Hat, hey, another insider tip. Chances are they probably have extra vendor hall badges that they can get you for free. Right? And so now you don't even have to spend the $600 on it. If your company has a booth at Black Hat, go tell your boss. Here's the strategy that I would have. Boss, I want to go to Black Hat this year, but it's not going to cost you a dime on your P&L. Here's what I want. We've already got a booth there. I want one badge, one business hall badge. That's it. You're already buying 6, 12, 10, however many you're going to buy. You're already buying those. I want one. I'll pay for my own hotel. I'll pay for my own flight there. Guess what? Now you get all the access without having to pay the badge fee at all. That is the biggest thing. Like if you can get over the badge fee, you can get to Vegas and you can stay in Vegas relatively cheap. It is possible to do. It is possible to do. All right, there's a lot of talk on Black Hat DEFCON. Let me see if there were any questions. Drop your questions about Black Hat at DEF CON if you want me to answer those real quick. There's this one from Ron Cupcake. Was there any GRC representation at Black Hat or DEF CON? There were a couple of GRC-ish type of vendors, folks who were talking about risk. Jerry was there. I think Jerry gave a metaverse presentation that with Trend Micro that I think ended up working out pretty well. It's hard to explicitly find GRC related content at Black Hat and DEF CON because those conferences are considered to be very technical. But you can find vendors that have technology that specifically helps the GRC space, right? And you can talk to them about GRC concepts. It doesn't all have to be EDRs and firewalls and API security and things like that. There's definitely a lot of GRC professionals there. Absolutely, there are a lot of GRC professionals there. I think this year was the first year that DEF CON had. I think they had a policy village or something like that at DEF CON, if I recall correctly. I mean, we've seen DEF CON come and go with villages. I know Josh is trying to do Noob Village out at DEF CON 2. You know, I'll reserve my if a village makes it a couple of DEF CONs, there is a reason for it to be there. I'm still skeptical as to whether something at Policy Village will make it out there or not, right? Oh, Josh just said there was a Policy Village out there. Jerry dropped the link. Thank you very much for his Metaverse talk. That was a good talk that he did on Metaverse on that one as well. So I think I think can you hunt for it and find it? Yes. Is it as predominant as some of the non-GRC stuff? Absolutely not. Like, there definitely won't be a sign that says, for all your GRC needs, come over here. It's definitely, you know, floundering about in a sea to try to find that. How about cybersecurity putt-putt? That way the non-managers have something to do. Yes, we will do a cyber insecurity putt-putt. I will tell you this. We did have the first cyber insecurity meetup at this Black Hat and DEF CON. It was super awesome. Hey, listen, I post on socials frequently during these events and whenever I travel because I want to meet the community. I want to meet people who have supported us and have been there with us since we started streaming. I want to thank everybody who's been here with us since we started streaming. I love all of you. You all are my extended family, so much so. I want to thank Jack, Sec IT guy, for doing the organization for the dinner. You know, I appreciate him stepping up for that. I always appreciate when folks of the community step up to lead efforts like that. And so I got an opportunity to meet Base Case, obviously BSEC. We met DevNull Zen. We met Redbeard. Obviously Nathan was there. Com Bombadil was there. And then we brought along the team from Haiku and the team from ThreatGen. Jerry was there as well. Anytime we get an opportunity to come together as a community, I am all for it. You know, if there are efforts that people in the community want to do to put together a cyber and security community event, reach out to Ahmad, reach out to myself. We'll absolutely do our ever-loving best to facilitate and try to get, you know, as much momentum behind it as possible. But without a doubt, you know, there's no doubt that we have the coolest community in all of cybersec. And you know, we'd love to do some putt-putt or anything else. Hey, Lens, I watched the video with David, and now I'm here. Thank you. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Welcome to Cyber Insecurity. Make sure you hit that exclamation point Discord, get access to that Discord. Make sure you hit those exclamation point socials and get access to those social media accounts. So, let's see what else we got here. What's the putt one? Josh says, what do you think you could do? What do you think you would do to improve Black Hat at DEF CON? For Black Hat, I would acknowledge what Black Hat is, right? Black Hat, to the comment that was made earlier, is a networking event. And I would stop letting vendors like CrowdStrike, Cybereason, and VMware and all the big ones hog up all the space. Listen, people know you. People know that if they want cool swag, they're going to come to your booth. People know that if they want to go to the Optiv party, they got to go to the Optiv booth to get their bands. People know that. Your marketing team's on point with telling them that. Guess what? You're going to the back of the bus. We're going to make everybody walk through. We're going to make everybody walk through the founders and the innovators of the companies that are trying to make a change in cybersecurity. We're going to make people walk through a career section at Black Hat in the vendor hall area before they get to you. I think that is fair. I think that is fair. Right? That would be what I would change about Black Hat. I think Black Hat's presentations, they run smooth. They have figured out in Mandalay the recipe for how to make sure that you're not waiting in line for an hour and a half to get into a talk. I have never been to a Black Hat briefing that sucked and that there was a lack of seating where I had to sit on the floor. Right? And so whatever formula they figured out there has worked. I think I saw BSEC post it earlier in chat, right? That Defcon was spread out over 3 hotels. They've done that every year since I've been there. Like I think the only time it's been over 1 is when they had it 1 year at Caesars and 1 year at Rio's. Now they've never had it at Rio. I think they only had it like once or twice at Rio's. It was insane, right? Every single time it's been spread out over multiple casinos, 3 or 4. And when you do that, that just adds to the chaos. Where do you go? Where am I going? The halls get the hallways get crowded up. There's different size rooms here and there. You're trying to put, a village over here and a village over here. You got to walk 5 miles to get to that village. Dude, hold on. For those who went to Defcon, you had to be cognizant of going from one village talk to another village talk because there was probably a 20 to 30 minute walk between those 2 talks. If not longer. Right? And so whatever Defcon is doing to not limit the speakers, to try to stay frugal on the hotel that they pick, to whatever it is that they're doing from an event management space is failing. And it fails year over year over year over year because the lines aren't getting better. The talks aren't getting seating that they need to get seated. It's impossible to go to 2 back-to-back talks at Defcon. It's insane. It's insane. Right? So honestly, if Defcon would be better if it stopped being crowded, right? And so I'm not saying less people have to go, and I'm not saying less talks have to be given, but they have got to fix. They have got to fix their event management situation because it flat out sucks. It flat out sucks. This is unfortunately the truth, right? As long as people can come, they'll just run it the same way. This is unfortunate, which is why I say like it's not worth it to go. Like again, don't let FOMO drive you to go into an event like that when you can get the talks for free, right? And if you're going to treat it like a networking event, then act like a networking event. Couple more just came across. Wouldn't it be beneficial to find out zero-day vulnerability presented at cons? As a general rule, there are no zero-day vulnerabilities presented at cons. And no, unless you are, no. There is no advantageous reason to believe that you're going to learn something at a con, right? That you're going to be like, whoa, I'm going to start working on this right now. I'm going to take this 0 day and I'm going to go right now. That is a fallacy. That is FOMO. That is FOMO. Right? You will learn about talks. Like, I'll do the Starlink one, right? The guy presented at Black Hat the Starlink. Does that make it a 0 day? Absolutely not. He had already disclosed it to Starlink. They were already fixing it in Starlink for months. He exposed that to Starlink, I think back in March or April. Right? So you're going to see it for the first time after he's already responsibly disclosed that to Starlink and it's already been patched and updated. That's not a 0 day. Right? That's somebody who finally got to a point where they wanted to have their research talked about, and they did it at Black Hat at Defcon. But they've already been working with the company to get it fixed. It's not a 0 day. Nobody's going to walk up on stage and be like, boom, baby, go to this GitHub link and you can get a 0 day for Microsoft Windows 11 that I've never disclosed to Microsoft, and you could use it to pwn every box out there. That will never happen. That will never happen. Ever. It has been attempted. It has been attempted and shut down. There have been numerous people who have tried to do that at Black Hat at DEF CON, and it has gotten shut down. So no. There is no level of FOMO that exists where you should think that you're going to miss out on a 0 day, that you're going to be less off as a human being, as a security practitioner, as a researcher, simply because you missed it at a con. Jerry's headed out. Everybody give a nice hype hand salute to Jerry. Appreciate you very much, sir. Make sure you check out Jerry's channel on YouTube, Simply Cyber. Appreciate seeing you, as always, buddy. I enjoyed our conversation Friday night. So no, I think I think that is FOMO speaking, and please don't let FOMO drive your decisions. Just because I saw this one, is that Starlink hat, was it physical or remote? It was physical. It was physical. And I talk a little bit about this blog post that's going up, right? It was a physical attack. He had $25 worth of hardware equipment, and he hacked the Starlink physical box itself, gained basically local root access to that box, and then apparently, according to the way that the Starlink network is designed, that gave him basically root access across the entire backplane of Starlink to have access to everything on the Starlink network. But I guarantee you, right? He didn't release it as a 0 day at Black Hat. Guarantee you that did not happen. You can go find out. He's been in talks with Starlink about it to get it fixed. I love your level of cynicism, Skitch. It sounds like cons are becoming like my current inbox and phone call queue. 99% marketing, 1% content. This is why I say have a plan. If you look at it, Jess, send that to a mod. A mod can post that link. Only mods can post links. Go there with a plan. Look at it like a networking event. Get the most out. And listen, we sat down and we talked to. I said we talked to the CTO at Synac. Right. I've been good friends with Synac for a long time. I love them. I love their I love their service. We talked to them, hearing what they're trying to do, and I don't. They're trying to get it. All right. I think I could talk about this. I apologize to anybody from Synac if you're listening. I figured this was okay to talk about because we talked about it in the room, right? But if you're not familiar with Synac does very similar to BugCrowd, HackerOne, except they're a lot more structured, a lot more disciplined. They've got a lot more teeth and grit and actual stuff to them, right? They're a better. I would consider them to be top tier in that bug hunting, bug bounty type of arena. They are actively trying to build a business model to be able to do the exact same thing, but crowdsourced blue teaming, crowdsourced threat hunting, which if you recall, I've talked to some of you about this in sub chat. That's an idea that I've had for a number of years as well, is to do crowdsourced threat hunting, right? And so they're definitely trying to innovate in that space. But you know where I learned that? That wasn't at their booth. We didn't learn that at their booth. I learned that by having a one-on-one with the CTO, right? And it's not like that. And listen, did I have a one-on-one with the CTO because I'm Neil effing Bridges? Absolutely. But at the same time, you could have gotten that one-on-one by asking Synac, hey, I hear you're going to be there. I'd like to get a meeting set up. And they would have met with you. And you probably would have heard the same thing, right? Scumper, thanks for also being my first LinkedIn connection, Neil. Absolutely. I connect with anybody. Obviously, my preference is that you tell me a little bit about yourself, right? You know what you're doing, who you are. Give me some history, but I will connect with anybody. I love it. I love it. Question here. Since Defcon is very bad for actually learning anything, what online resources would you recommend to do to learn instead of going out there and sitting on the floor? What I would do is I would monitor the Defcon YouTube channel, because they'll let you know, or the Defcon Twitter sites. And when they start posting videos up from Defcon, I would just start watching those videos, right? That's a free resource to learn exactly what you could have learned from Defcon for free, right? So, you know, first and foremost, if you're specifically talking about Defcon, go follow their YouTube channel. It's that easy. Go follow their Twitter page. They'll usually have some tweet or something that goes up that says day X of videos up on the YouTube page. Here's the link, right? So I would definitely say that. Giveaways. Do I have stuff to give away? Do I have a DM here on giveaways? Oh, look at Josh Mason looking out for y'all. Oh, okay. Okay, we got all the things. Yeah, let's do a giveaway. We can do a giveaway. Josh, run a giveaway. I'll talk about the rules of a giveaway while Josh gets the giveaway set up in Streamlabs. Josh, just let me know how many we're giving away before you run it. So rules for giveaways. Hit ! Discord and get into Discord. Okay? First and foremost. Secondly, okay? Make sure that your Discord and your Twitch are linked together. Thirdly, what's going to happen is when Josh starts the giveaway, there will be a post in Discord, post in Twitch chat that says how you can enter the giveaway. Only enter the giveaway once. Entering it more than once does not increase your chances. As a matter of fact, my mods have gotten real temperamental about people who have entered the giveaway once, or more than once, right? So only enter the giveaway once. I promise you the bot is pretty sophisticated. It will pick it up, okay? Second, make sure you are listening. If you enter the giveaway, you need to listen until I have said that the giveaway is closed. And the giveaway won't be closed until the winners have messaged Josh Mason and claimed their prizes directly from Josh Mason. And I have gotten word that that has happened. The reason I say that is because we have people who enter into a giveaway and then bounce out, then win something, and we have to re-roll. We almost always have to re-roll. Okay? So, with that being said, okay, whenever Josh starts the giveaway, we're going to be giving away 3 All the Things from Adrian Cantrell. If you're not familiar with Adrian Cantrell's All the Things, and I want to give a huge shout out to Adrian Cantrell. I've talked to him. He's an amazing individual. He produces one of the best, hands down, AWS courses in the entire world as far as I'm concerned. It is phenomenal, okay? And this is access to basically all of his course content that he puts out there completely and totally for free now and forever in perpetuity. Okay? And so it's a fantastic giveaway. Adrian Cantrell is a huge supporter of the stream. He gives us these on a very, very regular basis. He's amazing. So let him know that you heard him on the Cyber and Security channel. Are you done with YouTube? We're done with live streaming on YouTube. As you can tell from being here on Twitch, we love the environment on Twitch. I did a whole post on this. There's a whole post in announcements. If you have not seen it, on Discord, go into the announcements section on Discord, and you can unequivocally see the reasons that we've changed over from YouTube to Twitch, right? We've been very, very clear. It took it was the entire, mod team. We sat down and had a chat about it, and it was unequivocally, deemed that this was the best for our community was to come back over here. We're on a transition plan. And so we encourage everybody to transition from their YouTube memberships over to subs on Twitch. The good thing about this, right, is that those of you who participated in our subscriber chats in the evening know the value that comes with, again, we talk about the community. We talk about the cyber insecurity community when it comes to, meeting in real life. Imagine subscriber chat being a mini cyber insecurity meetup that happens almost every night. Right? There is some level of participation. Some people are in there during the day. We have folks who are across the globe. Some people from Europe and whatnot are in there during the day. We have folks who are in there in the afternoon and folks who are in there obviously in the evening. And so that benefit is open to anybody who is a subscriber to the Twitch channel. God, I couldn't think out loud for that one. And so it's easier for us to extend that benefit out through gifted subs to folks in the community to take advantage of that and to see what that's like. You can oftentimes catch me in there. And so another way to basically get free time with me on a one-on-one basis is through that subscriber chat at night. Especially people from South Carolina. Especially people from South Carolina. How can I get an entry-level GRC job? Go take Gerald's course. I think I saw some people posting a link for it. I think it's $1 right now. It's an inside joke, Tyrion. It's I made a boofa one time on stream and called South Korea South Carolina. So it's a little that's an inside joke on that one. Go take Gerald's GRC class for $1. That is hands down the best course that you can take for GRC knowledge. Okay. And then I would start to look for IT audit jobs, internal audit jobs, risk analyst, security analyst type roles. And I would start there. Like those are the easiest entry level jobs to get into for GRC. Yeah. There's another, accolade to that one, right? Gerald's GRC course is definitely solid, good intro on. Love Jerry. Jerry's a fantastic person. He's been doing that business for a while. You can go see our content. We friendly argue about that stuff frequently. I respect the hell out of the man. He wrote a good class. Go take his class. For $1, you can't beat it. Use that as a pivot point to start looking for IT audit, security, risk analyst type jobs, things like that. Do you see many booths promoting virtual CISO product? Virtual CISO is not a product. It's a service. Right? It's a service. No, because service businesses don't scale and service businesses don't IPO and service businesses don't get bought by VC companies. And this gets back to some of the cynicism, right, that we mentioned earlier with how things are from a marketing perspective, right? Whether we like it or not, some or most or all of these companies are trying to make people rich. And so they're trying to IPO or sell their wares to the highest bidder. Okay? And so no, you do not see a lot of things promoting virtual CISO products because there is no virtual CISO product. There is virtual CISO business, usually in the form of professional services. And those are a bolt-on to some other type of product. It looks like we did have the winners get pulled for this. Congratulations to our winners. Do make sure you message Josh Mason to get your All the Things vouchers. I missed a couple here at the beginning. First of all, congrats on Haiku. Also, I want to know your thoughts. In my campus placements, I got selected in a reputable company in India, but the role is system engineer. I have very less knowledge about it, but I want to switch into cybersecurity. That one got cut off. If you're still in chat, Arpan Thomas, can you ask the shorter version of your question? Because apparently VMix cut off the remainder of your questions, and I apologize for that, but I'd love to answer that one for you. Congratulations on getting selected in a reputable company in India, though. That is always awesome. I think I spoke a little bit about this one. What was the interest fee for Black Hat? $3,000 if you go to the briefs, $500 or $600 if you went to just the vendor hall. Have you seen what TCM Security has been doing the last few days, offering 3 courses, malware analysis, ethical hacking, and Linux 101 for $1 each? Not to split hairs, but I believe that those are the course creators that are offering that, not TCM Security. I think it started with Husky Hux offered his malware course, and then I think Heath followed on shortly after that with his PEH, and then I know Brent is in our Discord. He followed on after that with his $1. So what I want to do is I want to give a huge shout out to the creators who created those courses for doing that. Let's give credit where credit is due in that. What do I think about that? I think it's awesome that the creators are doing that. I think that there's, anytime training is available for free, my rule. My rule is always do the free stuff first. But at $1, that's as good as free. And so you should be out there taking it 100%. 100%. Yeah, I just got confirmation from Doc Jade, right? Yes, the creator started, right? So again, not to split hairs, but I do want to give credit where credit is due. It's not TCM Security that's doing that. You should thank those individual creators. It's those individual creators who have taken the initiative upon themselves to do it. So give credit where credit is due. I want to give a huge shout out to all. This is what I'm talking about. Giveaway was solid. This is what I'm talking about. We do the giveaways when they work, and you guys are on point. That's awesome. That's awesome. We love to do giveaways when things work smoothly. I appreciate that very, very much. Since we're talking about training, do you still recommend I&E for training? My mom had a saying once. Next. No, listen. This is hard for me. Yeah, what would Carmen tell you to say? Carmen wouldn't have pushed the question. I think the instructors at I&E are still some of the best and most talented instructors out there. I think the folks who wrote PTS V2 are some of the most talented cybersecurity professionals I've ever had the privilege of working with and meeting in my entire life. I think the content strategy that's being led by Jack and Brian is fantastic. I'm looking for another question to push. Here we go. Hack Caesar says, are you going to Raleigh's Triangle InfoSec Con? If you send me deets on it, I will do my ever-loving best to attend. Absolutely. I don't currently have it on my radar, but that doesn't mean that I'm not aware of it, or that I'm not interested in it, or that I have no plans to go. It's just not on my radar. Not on my radar. So are you from the future, and did you not go back in time far enough? We just got done with Defcon 22. If you meant 23, I will probably most likely end up going. But if you're from the future and you didn't go back in time enough, am I live next week? Let me know. DM me. I assume so, but you never know. Let's see here. Here's somebody from France. I love seeing this. I love seeing folks from different countries. Oh, this one got cut off too. Damn it. All right, if you're still, Barrelux, if you're still, I think there's part of the question. I'm learning English right now, but it takes time. Do you have any advice? I'm trying to listen to everything you say. It sounds very interesting. Oh, yeah. So, listen, Babbel is fantastic, and so is Duolingo. I'm learning Romanian and Russian at the same time. Care of Babbel and Duolingo. 10 of 10 recommends. Oh boy. Let's see here. Any thoughts on the current landscape of IoT vendor solutions and how you view total addressable market of IoT? I like it. Especially since you said total addressable market. It's a great question. Great. That's a very good question. Sorry, I'm out of tea, so I had to switch. IoT's weird. Right? So first and foremost, let's talk about the leading vendor in IoT security, Dragos, Rob Lee. We've had Rob on stream before. Several of us know Rob from our time together at the military. We both served at the 315 together. We both were SANS instructors at the same time. Rob's a fantastic dude. I love Rob to death. He's so awesome. And so unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, Rob is definitely, the unequivocal leader in the IoT OT space. So you should definitely check him out and his company Dragos. Now, with that being said, solutions and how to handle IoT security and IoT from an addressable market space is hard. Is hard, right? There's some people who view IoT as no different than any other binary input-output device. And therefore, by being no different than any binary input-output device, most security strategies apply the same. Some people argue that it is a binary input-output device. However, it is a more sensitive binary input-output device and therefore should be handled differently. And while that is a true statement, that only affects things like maybe you don't throw, a full-blown vulnerability scan at it. Maybe you have to have a special vulnerability scanner that is specific to IoT devices. And there's probably some truth to that, and there's probably some marketing FUD added on top of that. And so as a general rule, I think that's what makes IoT challenging from a vendor solution perspective, is that it is 50 to 100-year-old technology that's been around forever. So therefore, it's antiquated. It is fickle. It is sensitive equipment, sensitive hard equipment. If you screw it up, it can have a tendency to cause a physical performance issue and sometimes loss of life in the real world, right? And that's a very real thing, right? And so that's what makes, from a niche specialty perspective, that's what I think makes it niche, is that it requires you to be much more in tune with how you handle it from that perspective. Now, in terms of the total addressable market, I think the TAM for IoT is still very huge. If there is, yeah, you saw this from some of your packets, right? Weird protocols also. 1,000,001 protocols that were all created in a vacuum with no standardization, sometimes on a vendor-specific basis with inter-vendor, architectures in place. It's insane. On terms of the total addressable market, yes, if there is a manufacturing industrial component, right? Railways, power plants, manufacturing lines, right? All this stuff, right, that you think of on a day-to-day basis, there is a huge addressable market for it. But at the same time, there are the personalities in place, which is, this has never been a problem for us before, so why should we be worried about it now? Or all we do is process steel. Who would ever want to hack us? And so it becomes very much a cultural problem in that regard, as much as it is a technical problem on the vendor and the solution side. And so trust is huge. and this is something that Rob has done an amazing job of with Dragos by being an advocate for the community, by putting a lot of free information out there, by helping build a lot of standards, by working closely with NIST, by working closely with the government. Rob has built an immense amount of trust in that his solutions take some of those manufacturing, opinions in mind when it comes to implementing them. And listen, whether you like it or not, trust is huge. A lot of you out there have this, have this mentality. It's like, no, I said you have to put multi-factor authentication in place, and therefore you put multi-factor authentication in place, or I'm going to burn your entire house down, right? I've seen some people do some crazy mandates on cybersecurity that have just been freaking insane, right? And in the manufacturing world, when you do that, they're just like, screw you. We are a profit driver. Listen, I don't know if I've told this. I know I've told this story before. I did a security assessment on a manufacturing line for a Fortune 100 company before, where one production line, and this was one production line in a building with 50, and this was 50 in, 34 manufacturing sites that they had globally, right? Where this one manufacturing line produced $10 million a day, $10 million a day in product. The very first computer on that manufacturing line printed a tiny little barcode, right, that fit on like the back of my iPod's case here, right? Tiny little barcode. That barcode was there because the FDA mandated that every piece of medical equipment that they did had to be inventoried, right? And so that barcode was critically important. If that barcode didn't get printed, the entire manufacturing line shut down. So if that barcode, that one barcode on the first piece of equipment that went into this device didn't work, $10 million every day that was down. That computer that printed that barcode was a Windows 2000 machine. And this was 2018 that I did this assessment. And that first computer was a Windows 2000 box. If I went in there and said, oh my God, sight unseen, oh my God, Windows 2000 box, get this freaking thing off the network, get this thing out of here, you can't have this on the network, I'm going to yell, scream, complain to the CISO, to the CIO, everybody. That manufacturing dude or woman is going to be like, cool, hey boss, if you let him take this computer offline, that's $10 million a day that we lose. Who do you think will win that argument? You will never win that argument. No security practitioner in the world will ever win that argument. Ever. I don't care if you think you're Kevin Mitnick. I don't care if you're Marcus Hutchins. I don't care who you are. If you walked in there and said, I'm going to take down a Windows 2000 box because it's Windows 2000 only, I know nothing about the risk whatsoever other than it's Windows 2000, and it's going to cost you $10 million a day till you get another computer in there to replace it, you will lose every time. And until you, as security practitioners, realize that you have zero leverage in that, that's how you build trust. That's how you get, when you talk about the addressable market space in the IoT space, when you build that trust, that's how you can start to come in and say, well, I'd really like to be able to do vulnerability scanning on this box so I could determine if it actually really is a threat. And then maybe you can actually get to a point where you can do a realistic cybersecurity strategy in an IoT environment. But those are just some of those challenges that you have in IoT that I don't think people are really, really aware of in that regard. Soapbox time, people. How can I get a GRC job after my GRC bootcamp? Oh my God, your GRC bootcamp didn't guarantee you a GRC job? Shocked face. That's why I tell you not to pay for boot camps, people. You have to do the same thing that everybody else who didn't pay for a GRC boot camp does, which is to go back to one of the things I always talk about, which is get yourself on LinkedIn, make 1,000 meaningful connections, follow people you're interested in, follow companies you're interested in, make network connections. Go look at my career hacking YouTube series over on YouTube that has resume reviews and LinkedIn branding, right? Boot camps don't guarantee you jobs. I don't care what the boot camp says. The boot camp can't guarantee you a job. And a boot camp isn't a fast track to a job. Like, you're not just going to be like, yo, I want a GRC job. You see this boot camp right here? Boop. GRC job. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. Neil, your face reminded me of that old painting of the screen face. Go clip that one. Maybe BSEC could turn that one into a shocked face meme on the Discord. I'm sorry. There is no secret. Just because you got a GRC boot camp, unfortunately, you're just gonna have to do what everybody else does. The boot camp was not a fast track to success on that one. Sorry. Awesome. Let's see here. There's this one. Jay Perry, is reverse engineering a valuable skill in InfoSec? It is valuable. It's a secondary skill. Like if we go the D&D route, right? It's a secondary skill, but it's valuable. Yeah, it's valuable. Did you see the replacement? Did you see the replacement for Derby? Hack Redcon? No, I didn't. Again, I'm not a go to all the cons type of person. Cool. Hello, I've been a SOC analyst for a year. Only have a QRadar cert, but I'd like to get into cloud security. Should I stick to getting my Sec Plus? No, if you want to get into cloud security, you should be looking at a cloud cert. You should be looking at CCP, Solutions Architect. You should be on, a Cloud Guru or something like that, getting some cloud experience. No. If you're trying to get into cloud security, you should go with the first part of that, which is not security, it's cloud. If you're wanting to get into cloud security, you should go with the cloud part, not the security part. Awesome. Listen. Oh, actually, there's one more. Give it a chance to talk about this one. What kind of charity events were happening at Black Hat DEFCON this year? Are you plugged in any way? I know that I was involved in U.S. Cyber Games, where 6 teams came together. I want to thank Base Case for representing the leadership for the cyber and security team. We put forth. It was a charity battle. It was a King of the Hill charity battle. Where we fought for the charity, the Wounded Warrior charity. I know Rice's Cyber was there for their charity. We had Women Cyber Jiu-Jitsu who was there. So there was an entire CTF at, with the U.S. Cyber Games was putting on that was an entire charity battle. I haven't got a figure yet from them to know how much money they've raised. I think you can actually technically still donate until this weekend. I think. I would need somebody from Play Cyber to verify that for me, but I think you still donate up until this weekend for those charity events. There are probably other little small ones here and there. One of the things that I do wish was done better is I almost wish there was a charity committee that did a better job of organizing all of the charities without the financial drawbacks, please. To try to make more awareness for the charity events that do happen during Black Hat DEFCON. The only one that I know about was the one that I shoutcasted for. If you do want to go see, listen, real quick on the U.S. Cyber Games, I was very honored to be asked by the Play Cyber team to not only stream that event on the Cyber and Security channel, but also to cast that live at the HyperX Arena last Thursday in Vegas. I as somebody who follows like Arena World Championship for World of Warcraft and Mythic Dungeon Invitational and all the esports stuff that Blizzard does, being in a live studio like that with a production team was phenomenal. It was an experience of a lifetime to be able to shoutcast in a venue like that. We continue to move the needle forward as best we can to try to bring a more engaging CTF style of experience to esports. If you go look at the one that we did in March, I think it was, and the one that we did this last time, you can see that we were talking pretty consistently as we moved from monitor to monitor to try to create a football-esque type of live stream event. And so I appreciate everybody who tuned in for that. I would love feedback on it, good or bad. You're welcome to DM me in Discord or drop it in stream suggestions, or shoot me a DM wherever you want. But the goal is to grow this over time, so that I saw somebody say League of Legends, right? Whether it's League of Legends or Blizzard, whatever your favorite esports type of commentary is, it starts to look and feel more like that in that regard. With that being said, somebody was paying attention because the CEO for an esports league called XP League here in Raleigh connected with me on LinkedIn after the event. So it is getting traction in the esports community, which is definitely what I liked. And so was it perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And one of the things that I think our mod team walked away from with that, we all feel that next time, a select portion of the cyber insecurity mod team and producers need to be embedded with the HyperX folks, so that they understand how a stream like this should run. And so I think there's a lot of lessons learned like that. I haven't had a chance to debrief with the entire Play Cyber team yet, so I don't know what their thoughts or takes are on it as well. But overall, I think it was a move in the right direction for seeing these types of CTF events move towards a more esports format type of thing. So, with that being said, I want to say happy Friday to everybody. Every single one of you is absolutely, utterly amazing. You complete my day. You complete my day. You complete my week to tune in here. I'm so excited to be doing this for you all, for the community. You catch us on Discord. Make sure you hit that exclamation point Discord. Do find us in Discord. You can oftentimes find me in there daily in some way, shape, or fashion, doing something. Chatting, BSing, answering questions, playing World of Warcraft, whatever the case is. I highly encourage everybody to join us there. If you're currently a subscriber, whether you were gifted it or not, you have access to that channel. Don't sleep on it. Make use of it. It's a great way to communicate with your other cybersecurity professionals outside of this channel. I love all y'all. Y'all make my day. Whether you're on the red side or the blue side or still deciding, keep learning. And I'll see y'all next week.